Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and I'm excited today because it's finally officially feeling like spring. And this is my time of year. For those of you guys that don't really know me, fall and spring, I'm the fall and spring girl. So today we are going to do a walk through my garden, and I'm going to do an actual garden tour because I have so much that I've just planted, so many seeds that are popping up, and some things that have come out. So now it's kind of like a refresh with different things. And I'm excited to show you guys what I have in the garden, and in hopes to be growing this spring and having a bunch of different vegetables to eat to go with our meals. I think me and Mr. Benson need a different paste from our brassicas, so we're excited for the spring and summer crops to be coming up. So let's take a walk. So as I'm walking down to the beginning, because we're going to start from the beginning and go back, I just want to say that we are so excited about all the subscribers that we've gotten to our channel. And this has been like such a big deal for us because I love my garden, Mr. Benson loves my garden, and I love sharing it. So we are going to do another giveaway where we are going to give away a big patch of seeds, and it's going to be once we hit 600 subscribers. So once we hit 600 subscribers, I'll post another video of where you can comment, and we'll give away 2 winners. So make sure you guys are hitting the big red subscribe button and staying tuned for the video. So let's see what's in the first spot. Alright guys, so now this lettuce has officially bolted. So we were finishing up the lettuce that was here, which now we have kale here. This is the Blue Lake bush kale. And so now we're gonna be doing this lettuce next. So it's almost done. Mr. Benson's not happy about the lettuce going because he loves Taco Tuesday. So we'll have to figure out another solution for lettuce. Maybe grow something inside the house. If you guys have a suggestion on a lettuce that's slow bolting or what to do, leave it down in the comments for me. But our spinach is looking so amazing. I think I'm going to make a dish tonight or tomorrow with the spinach because it needs to be cropped before it starts getting bug damage. As you can see, something already has taken a bite out of it. But the Swiss chard is going strong. For those of you guys that don't know, Swiss chard grows like crazy in Arizona. It's insane. So if you want to grow a green throughout the summer, Swiss chard's where it's at. Over here, we have our nasturtium flowers, which is going really, really well. And I haven't tried one yet, so I think this now may be the time for me to see what it tastes like. Okay, so I grew one of these because I wanted to eat the flower. And I don't know guys. I'm gonna try a little bit. Kind of tastes like a mild horseradish. I don't know, this might be, it's an interesting taste. Maybe I'll just add it to the flour in my hair versus eating it. Well, you know, at least I can say I did it. It's falling, so I'm gonna put it over here. You know, you can always grow something that you find super, super interesting because why not? You have the space, try it and see what happens. I think what I am going to do is take a lot of those little flowers off when they bloom. I'm going to freeze them in water and make little ice cubes. So then that way for the summer, I have them just in case this plant doesn't last all summer long. Okay, so here we have the celery, which is doing so amazing. You know, the nice part about celery, guys, is that you don't have to wait until it goes into a big stalk. You can just kind of pick it as you need it, which is what I've been doing. And even when I need to prune it up, when it's like invading the kale's space, I'll prune it up and then just chop it up and put it in the freezer. Up in this pot, a lot of people have been asking me what's in this one. There's a little green dot right there. This one has beans in it. Do not remember which beans I put in there, so we'll have to see when they start to bloom. So we have the collards back there that are still doing really well. we have these beans right up front that I love. These ones are my favorite green beans. They're Dragon Ton bush beans. And then these are the two turnip greens that I'm waiting. We have been eating the actual leaves off of these, but I'm waiting for them to grow a turnip, which I think, oh, guys, if you could see down there, it's already starting to happen. A little turnip is forming. And then we have the garlic that's still doing really good. Some beautiful flowers in front of it. And then here I put a scallop squash and then a purple Cherokee tomato. So if you guys remember, this is where all of the herbs were. I pulled all this up. I started digging in this bed a little bit just to get the plants up, and I realized that there was a lot of earthworms in here. So one of the things that I did is I gave them some food. So I just got some peels, some potato peels, as you can see right there, and I just buried them right in here so that that will feed the earthworms, because this bed's not connected to my worm bin, so I'm going to make sure that they eat well too. And then look at how beautiful that is, guys. Adding flowers to your garden can be so amazing, not just because it's beautiful, but it also attracts the bees. And so having them kind of midway down will let the bees know that there's things all the way down here, because in Arizona we really don't have a lot of things that bloom down low. Usually it's just the trees. And then my herbs, this is my little herb garden that I use for the kitchen. So this one is oregano, we have some lemon thyme, we have a Greek oregano, and then this one, which is going to flower, is our English oregano, or sorry, English thyme. So all those are doing pretty good. And then our onions are doing amazing, as well as our giant artichoke plant. This, I wonder how big it gets. If anybody knows how big I think this one is a globe artichoke plant, let me know, because I think it might be like a little tree. And then the sage is still doing good. And now that the beets are getting a little bit more sun, they're doing good too as well. Alright guys, I'm sitting down for a second because it got hot. The wind's blowing a little bit, but I started sweating already. It's April in Arizona and I'm already sweating while doing a video. I still have all summer to go, so this should be interesting. So, you know, one of the things I wanted to kind of address too is that with this quarantine, I'm actually, when I go out to check the mail, which we do go outside to do, I see a lot of parents with their kids. And this is something that never has happened in my community. Like in my neighborhood, it's always, you might see nannies out with the kids, and the nannies are kind of like on their phones while the kids are just at the playground, either sitting in the sand kind of playing with themselves, or there's one or two of them kind of playing with each other. But there's not that sense of parents just being able to spend quality time with their kids. And during this quarantine, I've seen a lot of parents sitting with their kids with little picnics where they have little blankets laid out and they're playing little music, and maybe a couple of the other neighbors are kind of like in little clusters so that they're social distance, but still just sitting out and absorbing some of the vitamin D with their kids. And I thought that that was so nice, because I feel like not enough people spend quality time with their children anymore. A lot of times they just give them to nannies, or they're on the phone, or they're working. But I think that one of the good things that has come out of this quarantine is that people are sitting and just spending time with their children. And that's the proper way to raise them. And at least sitting outside in your yard, you're giving them vitamin D, and you're letting them sit on the earth and let the earth just ground them. That's what's going to keep them healthy. Fun, vitamin D, and just being a part of the earth. Just my little side note. Okay, we're back at it, and guys, look at my little tower. It's doing so well. I'm so excited about it. There's some basil, there's some thyme, some Aunt Molly's, and some chamomile. I'm pretty sure this chamomile is probably going to take over everything, but we'll see how it grows. I probably shouldn't have planted that one right in the middle, but there's just a lot going on in here. Even over here, there's some onions, which we've been having fresh chives now that the onions have gotten long. So those are nice, and potatoes, and just tons of basil. I don't want to run out of basil this winter, so I'm growing a lot of it. And then the shishitos, so taking off those bottom shishito peppers is making the shishitos kind of grow normal sized peppers again, at least on this plant. So I'm looking forward to just giving those some more fish fertilizer and seeing how they do. This shishito plant is getting loaded with shishitos, and these ones seem fine. Like, this plant was doing a lot better after the storm than the other one was. But the parsley's still going strong, and so is the collards over here. And then these cabbages, we'll see if these cabbages make it, because it's getting warm. It's already 85 degrees outside. But this cabbage and this cabbage, we've been eating the outer leaves. The little ones, the center ones got a little bit attacked by bugs, but we're trying to see if they're gonna head up. So they're trying, it seems like, but we will see. The tomato plant, on the other hand, guys, if you guys follow my Instagram, which I will put right here, we had our first red tomato off of this, and it was delicious. It was so delicious. But look at all these tomatoes on here. Like, they're so huge, and there's just a ton of them. This looks like it's going to be a heavy producer when it comes to tomatoes. This is a Better Boy tomato plant. So last year I didn't have tomatoes this early, and I had them later in the spring to where they were kind of going red in the summer, and the birds were eating my tomatoes. It was like 110 degrees, and the birds were like, this is the only water we can find, we're gonna eat them, we're not sharing them, so too bad. So I had to share a lot of my tomatoes with the birds last year, and it stunk. So here, guys, we're getting a little bit closer to the beets being ready. I don't know if you guys can see down in here, but I put them in a cluster, and you can start seeing the beets right there. So I think that they might be ready, but I'm gonna pull them soon just because I want to give this plant a chance to kind of just really sprawl out and not be covered by everything. It's getting warm, so our little lettuce plant that was over here just bolted, and now it's reaching for the sky, so we'll have to pull that one soon. The red scarlet beans, guys, look at how much they have grown. This one is almost to where the arch starts to bend, so I'm pretty excited about this. I can't wait to see this trellis covered in beans. It's going to be beautiful. The rosemary, it's doing okay. It's starting to it's been there for about a year and a half now, so it goes through phases where it'll be happy and then not so happy, so I think it's going through a phase. And then our thyme plant over here, this one's doing really well. This one is a English thyme plant. I do really love the lemon thyme. It goes a lot on fish. It goes really well with fish and chickens and different things like that. But the English thyme is still one of my favorites too as well. If you guys haven't experimented a lot with different herbs, they now have a lot of different herbs that have different flavors to them. They have the lemon thyme, which is one of my absolute favorites. It goes really well in like chicken and fish and just pretty much with anything that you can kind of add lemon to, and it has a nice like little lemon taste to it. It's not like too overpowering or anything like that. And I'm growing cinnamon basil, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with cinnamon basil, but I'm going to grow it and see what it tastes like. But experiment with them, see if there's some different types of herbs that you want to try with different flavors, because there's some pretty cool things that exist now. Okay, so we have a purple bean, which I love this plant because the stems are so dark on it. And this one's going to be purple green beans, so I'm excited about that. And then these are all of our new additions, which you can see they're already getting big. So we have some bush cucumbers. They grow about 2 feet, so it's going to be just enough for this trellis here. And then we have a patty pan squash. And then these two are ones I don't remember what they were. I have to wait until the leaves get a little bit bigger so I can see, but these are both 2 different types of bush squashes. So we will see there what they are. Over here, we also have some, I don't remember again, this is why I need to label things, but I'm pretty sure this one is the midget cantaloupe. and I think that one's another midget cantaloupe. I wanted a lot of cantaloupe, so I think these are both my melons. We will see what happens when they grow out, and I can tell what they are. And then, oh, no, I do remember, guys. This one is a crookneck squash, so that one's a yellow crookneck squash. And then that one over there, those two are the midget cantaloupes. So I grew those last year. If you guys follow me on IG, you see I had these tiny little ones that fit in my hand. That's those ones. And then I have a sugar baby watermelon right there that I need to build a trellis for so it has something to climb up on the wall. So here's a tip for you. When you are planting things, label them right away, because otherwise it's just going to be like a surprise when it grows. Because there's a lot of things that I'm pretty sure that's what they are, but we will see in a couple of weeks if that's actually what they are, just because I forgot to label them. So that's a tip. So this Ichabod eggplant is growing back so nicely. This one got so damaged in the hailstorm a couple of months ago, and I finally pruned off all the leaves where it looked like it had no leaves, and now it's just grown back. And look at these beautiful flowers, guys. This and ochre flowers are some of my most favorite flowers. And I like this plant because it's fuzzy. The leaves just feel like a little fuzzball. It's kind of fun. And then we have some green beans down here. I think these ones are Big Kahuna green beans. But once again, we will see because I forgot to label them. What you guys should always know is that with bush beans, you can kind of plant them close together. As you can see, I have 4 of them in there, and then I think that there's one popping up back there too as well. So 5 bush bean plants can all go in this little cinder block and grow just fine. As you can see, there's no yellowing, there's no anything. They're just going to grow there and produce some green beans. I put compost in there so that they're constantly eating and have something to eat instead of just regular potting soil. So this is the bed that I am slowly but surely pulling all of the cabbages as they grow up. This one is actually heading up pretty nicely, so I'm excited to have this one probably in another week. And then this one, it's a bigger cabbage. It's trying to head up, but I'm not so sure about that one. We have eaten some outer leaves off of it. They have made some really good cabbage wraps because the leaves are so big on this one, but I'm not sure if it'll make a head on it. The broccoli, on the other hand, so guys, one of the things I mentioned in the last video is that if you trim your broccoli plants when it starts to produce sprouts, it'll produce a ton more sprouts every time you trim it. Like, I pulled all of the sprouts off of in the last video, and they are already back up. So this is going to be another round of broccoli that we get to have before this plant is done. So guys, also in that bed, you can see that I planted the okra in between the broccoli and the cabbage. This makes it to where there's not so much a time to where we're not having vegetables. It'll give the broccoli or the okra time to kind of grow up as we're still kind of getting the last minute harvest off of the broccoli and waiting for the cabbage to head up. When you're growing yourself a small space garden, you want to make sure that you have things kind of growing in different stages at any given time, because that way you want to always have something that you can be pulling from your garden, and that's how you can get the most out of having a small space garden. One of the tips that I do with that is that I always have a bag of compost so that I'm always adding compost to my garden too as well. So it's kind of like rejuvenating the bed and having something grow while something is finishing up. So it's just a constant stream of food. So those are the brand new okra plants that are just getting bigger and bigger over there. So one thing that I also tried out this year was trying to decide if I put a seed in the ground, would that grow faster than if I put it under grow lights? And no, it did not. So the ones where I planted seeds, those ones are a lot smaller than the ones that I grew under grow lights. I feel like when you can control the temperature, control the lighting, and control how much lighting that they're getting, it kind of just gives the plants just a big burst. A lot of people warned me about having kind of like a transplant shock when it came to my squash and my cucumbers and my okra. But one of the things that I did is that, one, I planted them in like the little pea pots, and then I planted them in the ground before they got too huge. So I didn't wait for them to get really, really big in the underneath the grow lights. I let them get their first like 2 true leaves, and then I planted them in the bed, and now I'm letting them grow in the bed. So I think that that reduced a lot of transplant shock because the roots weren't so insanely big that when you wait to where the roots are kind of really established, and then they don't want to be moved. So this one is a Space Saver cucumber, and as you can see, this one I planted as a seed in the ground, and I planted this one 2 weeks before planting this one inside. And this one was inside underneath the grow lights, and I planted this last week, so it was even a little bit smaller than this one, but it still had at least 1 true leaf, and they're doing just fine. No transplant shock or anything. So as we're getting towards the end of the beds here, I have the beets, some more beets over there, and then also these are now Armenian cucumbers. These are growing really, really fast. I started these indoors too as well, but these are already starting to kind of shoot up and start to expand themselves. So these are some of my favorite cucumbers, and I'm really excited about those. Worm compost bin is doing really, really well, guys. There's so many worms in there, and it's really getting through our garden waste quickly. So if you guys hadn't started a worm compost bin, I have a video that I can link down below, but you should start one because this works. Like getting rid of all the kitchen waste, getting rid of all the garden waste, they just eat through it so quickly. So you have a beautiful flower up there. A little pop of color for the garden. And then, once again, we are trying some poblano peppers. So I grew these ones from seed. That's one which it looks like it's flowering. And then there's another one over there. You guys, if you remember, I struggled with poblano peppers last year. They finally grew and then got destroyed by the hailstorm. So I'm excited for these ones this year. I have another little bush cucumber over here, and then my cilantro is still doing nicely. This one is one that we're just going to use for fresh eating until it flowers. Okay, so one thing I'm really excited about is that if you guys haven't seen my video on how I created a patio arch trellis, I created a patio arch trellis, and it fits perfect on like a little small space patio, but I'm growing some green beans on there, and I have been staring at the dirt for so long waiting for the green beans to kind of pop through, and they're starting to pop through. So I have green beans, like pole beans, on the actual trellis part of it, and then on the other side of the pot I have bush beans. So let me show you. So this side is growing them first. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like all the bush beans are popping up first. The pole beans, I think this one has Kentucky Wonders on this side. And then on this side, I have the rattlesnake pole beans. Well, they're bush beans, but they get probably about there. So I think that'll give enough space for the Kentucky Wonders. But I am getting a little something going on in here, guys. So this is pretty exciting. And finally, we have jalapenos coming in. I love jalapenos. We eat them as jalapeno poppers. We have some cilantro that I preserved that I'll show you guys what I did in tomorrow's video to make those preserves so that we can get some salsa because we have tomatoes coming in too. And then we have the lemon balm that is now getting really huge. I'm going to start to dry this because I don't want it to get super, super big and lose flavor. So I'm going to cut it back and let it grow back, but dry it at the same time so that we can have some dried. And then the spearmint is starting to grow back. Spearmint did not like the winter. Even the Arizona winter didn't like it, but it's growing back, and soon that'll be mojitos and mint water. Then we have the little parsley coming in and the flower. So I was really kind of nervous about some of the grocery stores being like closed and stuff like that, and I was like, oh no, I need basil, like my basil plant is not growing. So I went and I got a basil start, but I got the basil start from the grocery like section of it, like the produce section, the ones that are just like in like a little pot of water, and I planted it. So what I did is that I put it in some water and I brought it outside for a day, or like a half a day, and then put it back inside, and then brought it out for a full day, and then put it back outside, and then brought it out again for a full day and planted it. So now it seems to be doing pretty well. It's not dying, and it's kind of enjoying the spring sun. But it's next to the sage plant that I transplanted into a pot from my in-ground bed. So this is that basil plant, guys, and it smells amazing. But as you can see, they have a lot planted in those little things. So you want to make sure that you kind of give it some time to kind of acclimate to being outdoors, and then also plant it in a pot where its roots are going to be okay, because the roots are pretty root bound in there. Like, there's pretty much no soil in that little pot. And then my garden sage, this is the one that was the in-ground, and it's loving actually being able to get more sun over here because it was sandwiched between radishes and that giant cauliflower. So it seems to be doing pretty well. Alright guys, so that's it for my little garden walk and tour. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's kind of a long video, but there's a lot going on back here now. So comment down below, tell me what you guys are growing, because I'd love to know what you guys got going on in your gardens. And also, don't forget, we're going to be picking 2 winners once we hit 600 subscribers. So please remember to subscribe, like, and share our videos. And always remember, grow yourself a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food.